Hello and welcome to the Camogie Association's webinar series entitled Ready, Steady, Go. The series will consist of 3 episodes focusing on 3 different ages: Go Games, Youth and Adult. The main topic of the conversations will be helping coaches and players deal with the shutdown and make sure they are as prepared as possible for when they come back. Today's podcast has 2 special guests. We have Sabrina Larkin. Sabrina is the current Participation and Growth Coordinator for Leinster. She's a current inter-county player with Tipperary and has a wealth of experience in coaching at Go Games, youth and adult level. Our second guest for today is Peter Casey. Peter is a current GDA for Clare. He's a Camogie Association and GAA tutor for coach education, and he was also one of the first people involved in launching the Go Games in Clare, so has a wealth of experience at that age and stage. My name is Stuart. I am the Participation and Growth Coordinator for Munster, and I will be leading the discussion. Sabrina and Peter will be giving you all their thoughts and advice on the topic. So first questions first. Thank you both for coming. Appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today. First question we're looking at. So from a coach's perspective, what can players be doing at this current moment, and what should they be focusing on? Peter, you go first.
Okay, thanks, Stuart. Hi, Sabrina. At the moment, we're all in the same boat. Everybody's at home, and the novelty has worn off now, I suppose, at this stage. A lot of parents are getting loads of homeschooling information through. A lot of sports are sending stuff out to players, and people are getting inundated with it. And an awful lot of it is very, very good. Okay, so as players, it's to be able to pick and choose what you're able to do in your own surroundings, I suppose, first of all, and what you're able to do with your parents. The WHO guidelines say that every child should get 1 hour physical activity every single day, and that's really what they need to be able to sustain a healthy life. So we as an association would really recommend that where possible, children would get 1 hour's activity a day. We're lucky with the weather at the moment; it's improved and the fine evens. So physically, they need that, and that can be in the house or outside the house, running around, jumping, playing with their toys, or playing on the bikes, or whatever it is. Maybe if they have a swing at home. And I suppose as camogie coaches and as hurling coaches, we'd really love if players would take the hurling to their hand every single day for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And if they could do that, that would be brilliant. And maybe this is the time when children will start to learn with their parents that practicing at home is the place that would make them a much better player. Even if they were going training all the time up to a couple of weeks ago, practicing at home is where they can really improve their skills. The big aim for all children in the country is that by 12 they would acquire bilateral coordination. That means they'll be able to strike off their right and left well. That's the hope for all kids in the country. Okay, and that's not the case for all children, and it hasn't been the case even without a coronavirus. So what I would love would be that by 12, that a 12-year-old girl or a 12-year-old boy would be outside poking the ball off the wall and trying to catch the ball or trying to take the ball back into their hand with one touch. 10-year-olds would practice their roll rise, their jab rising, and striking from their favourite side. Under 8s would be practicing striking the ball on the ground off their right and left, really trying to get that lovely C-shaped swing, trying to get that wristy movement, and practicing the skills of striking the ball off a wall and stopping it. And under 6s, well, if they were doing some little thing, maybe playing with a balloon and a hurley, just trying to develop that dominant hand holding the hurley. I think if that was happening, that would be fantastic. And I think that's probably as much as we could expect anybody to be doing. And maybe as coaches, it's just to encourage our players to do that much without inundating parents with loads of information, because a lot are very stressed out at the moment anyway. Maybe they have sick relatives, or maybe they've lost their jobs. So I think just to be cognizant of that.
Very good point, Pierre. So Sabrina, do you think should you be looking at structured versus unstructured play? So should coaches be focusing on giving players a plan, or stick a prescribed amount of stuff, or should they just be letting them play and get on with it?
Yeah, look, just kind of touching on what Peter said there, like we're looking today at the Go Games age group. So you're talking about 6-year-olds up to 12-year-olds. So like if you think about it, the biggest thing they're probably missing from the camogie field is their friends, and they're missing the fun element of playing camogie. So there's all the clubs out there are doing fantastic jobs in sending stuff out to their players and out to their parents and their members and things. But I suppose as time kind of goes on now, people are getting a little bit more strung out about things and that. So I'd be very much pushing for the element of just having fun. Like they'll learn as much out in the back garden, messing around with a brother or sister, or poking the ball off the wall as many times as they can. If you're 6 years old and you're just trying to clear the ball as far away from the middle of the garden as you can, then that in itself is going to bring them back to the playing pitches whenever we do get back there, better and stronger, you know, just for doing that. Like, but just to answer your question, like, although it's grand to be sending out structured stuff, and it does keep a little bit of normality in what is a very unusual situation, but at the same time, this is a Go Games age group. So as long as they're outside having the crack, having the fun in the back garden, that is the most important thing. Like, as coaches, we probably feel like we have a sense of duty to be providing something to the player. And by just keeping in touch with them, just encouraging them to be picking up the hurley, like Peter said there, for 10 or 15 minutes, you are helping them and you are coaching them in that manner. So just for clubs to realise that they are doing a lot and they are doing enough, and just to, I suppose a lot of it is now falling on parents. So the element of fun is the most important thing, and all they're going to want to do is get back to their friends, you know. So yeah, so that's it.
Excellent. And if parents or coaches are kind of anxious about it, and they're looking for specifics, say skills, challenges, resources, things to do, is there certain places they should be looking, in your opinion? Peter or Beanie, you can hop in on that one.
You can take it, Sabrina.
Yeah, so like there's loads of things. Like, sure, Twitter is inundated at the minute with loads of different things that they can be doing. And you know, like even if you go on to the GAE learning, so the camogie is in on that there with them as well. So there's lots of stuff up on that from a sense of learning. Even like the session planner, that's there as well if you were looking for some ideas, if you were kind of running out of ideas now at this stage of the lockdown. And the PDST have loads of different stuff, all fundamental movements that teachers will be aware of, but like, you know, might help out a parent there who might not be in that environment on a regular basis. But all easy stuff, you do it in the back garden there, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and you're still tipping away, you know.
Yeah, and I come in there, Stuart. You know, as coaches, we're probably all able to challenge ourselves a little bit by doing this as well. We can all make our own little videos as well, and maybe there are resources in our clubs who can help us. I have a great friend who coaches down in Wexford in Fight Harriers, and they have a parent who's a movie maker, and he got Lee Chin to make a couple of videos, and he put them to music. So maybe within our own clubs we'll find these resources, and they're just giving an Easter egg to the kids who send back the best challenges after. So there's all ideas out there, and I just think the idea of an Easter egg prize for children leads to the fun. You know, it's that fun element, and we just need to make sure that the kids that are playing Go Games, we don't ever treat them like they're adults, or we don't ever treat them like they're teenagers. They are children, and but we can provide fun aspect, and there's some fantastic stuff up on social media, up on Twitter at the moment. All the people in the different counties, like myself, we're being encouraged to make videos at the moment to show that we're not doing nothing. And we're I'm joking there. We're actually really enjoying it. But there are different ways of teaching skills, and maybe by finding out these little new videos, new ways of doing things, it'll make it easier on our players to play and to practice the skills at home.
I'm just imagining all the parents just adding on Easter eggs to their shopping list when they go home there. There's rewards for everything. Okay, is there anything else before we wrap that one up? Is there anything else you would add on to there?
No.
I think we covered everything okay. So in terms of just to sum up then from what you were saying, first thing we'd advise is to parents and coaches is don't panic. There's a danger of information overload. There's a lot of information out there, so don't worry about having to put something out specifically for that. There'll be information from schools, from every governing body of sports, there's loads of different resources, so don't worry about doing too much specific work. Kids need to have 1 hour of exercise at the Go Games age. 1 hour of exercise a day is what you're looking for. Doesn't have to be structured, doesn't have to be prescribed. It can just be an hour of whatever they want to be doing, as long as they're moving around and they're expending some energy. If they have 10 minutes of camogie put into that a day, absolutely brilliant. If you are going to if you do feel like you want to put over some information to them, again, just encourage them to be creative and to play with it. You can make it fun, have some skills challenges, always keep that fun element to whatever you're doing. And then on that, if they're not interacting back with you, again, don't panic and don't worry. It might not be that they're not doing it. It might just be that they're a bit shy. Or if you are doing skills challenges, make sure they are appropriate. As Peter was saying, make sure everything you're doing, whether it's a skill challenge or it's some help and advice on how to develop those skills, make sure it's appropriate to their age and their stage. So don't try not and give them things that are too hard for them to be doing at their age and stage. Excellent, everyone. Thanks very much for that. Second question we're going to focus more on the coach themselves now. So again, everyone's got a lot of time in their hands at the moment. There's a lot of technology and resources out there. So if you were if a coach has come to you and said, "What should I be doing to make myself better at this time?" What would you be advising them to do at this moment? And Sabrina, you can go first.
So like, look, there's lots of things, like we touched on it there, for the actual player themselves, but there's lots of stuff out there on social media as well at the minute for coaches to be reading up on and to upskilling themselves on too. From a coaching's point of view, it's probably a unique situation. Like, I'm coaching at home, my own club, and it's very rare that you get the actual opportunity to sit down and think about how you can develop as a coach. You spend a lot of your time sitting down planning how you're going to develop your players. But, we have this unique opportunity now as coaches to sit down and go, right, well, what do I need to do as a coach that when the gates of the hurling field open back up, that I'm going to be a better coach when them kids can come back to me. So there are so many opportunities, like from a Go Games point of view, looking at our camogie player pathway, understanding, right, I'm the coach of the under-10s. These are the skills that them under-10s need to be passed on to the under-12 age group with. Am I doing that? Where am my group at currently? Am I coaching in the correct manner? And outside of that, then you're probably looking like that you might feel a bit under pressure, like I was saying earlier, that you have to be putting stuff out, but use some time to self-reflect on yourself as well. That, okay, is there something that I don't like doing in part of my coaching, but I can get better at doing? How do I do that? Is there resources there to help me do it? So, like, there's loads of things, like there's webinars like this on all the time now lately, and they're becoming more popular there with the lock-in and that. GA have them Tuesdays and Thursday nights. You have these 3 series of webinars with ourselves. You can go to the Coaching Bubble podcast for loads of insight from coaches from a range of sports, and get some kind of perspective on your coaching approach and your coaching methods. So there's loads of different things there. Like, as a coach now, I think if I was in my group at home here, my important thing is that I'm in touch with the group in some manner, that I'm in touch with the parents in some manner, and just giving that bit of reassurance that, look, we are there for your players, we're there for the club, and when we get back going, we're going to be ready to hit the ground running. I think that little conversation to the parents and to the panel and to anyone you're coaching is important, because you might be gone out of sight, but you can't go out of mind, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And Peter, in terms of if some coaches want to go down the self-reflection route, how would you be advising that they do that? Is there any ways that you've seen to do it, or any resources?
Well, I'd agree first of all with everything that Sabrina says, and after that, then I'd say that maybe we're learning an awful lot now. The world of distance learning is really hitting us all, and maybe we don't need to have as much control as we did have. I go with the the great coaching model, the how to coach model. I think it's a model that's sometimes passed over because it's been too easy. But the first element of it is build rapport. That's one thing that you can do at the moment, is building rapport with your parents and maintaining rapport. So just touching in with them, saying, hope you're all okay, encouraging the players to practice, and leaving it at that. And that might be one message a week would be enough, probably. You don't want to inundate yourself with it. I was watching now carefully the video that Patrick Horgan did on the wall last week, where he got 30 strikes in 30 seconds from a very short, snappy pass. And I was really in awe of him from my observations of him. So I think as a coach, if we could develop the skills of observation, then we know the type of player that we're looking for. So Patrick Horgan, what's he able to do? Well, he's able to score, and he's able to play in a very small space. Niamh Kilkenny, now the Galway player, she's which is a different player, but similar as well. You know, if you were to try and stop Galway in the morning, you'd say we're going to tie down Niamh Kilkenny. But Niamh Kilkenny has been player of the match in most games for Galway for the last number of years. And again, from observing her, she needs very, very little room to swing. Now, I was watching those players last week, and I said, I go out with my son and we'd puck a ball, and we would try and imitate exactly what I saw Patrick Horgan doing and Niamh Kilkenny doing. And I wasn't able to do it. So then I had to reflect and say, I can't demonstrate what they're doing. Now, provide demonstration is the second part of how to coach. I think if we could all say that if I'm not able to demonstrate, my players do need a demonstration. I'm going to have to be able to find a way to get this demonstration to my players. So whether it's by video or whatever means, right, or it's a top player in my club, I think how we coach is going to be it can be an awful lot different when we go back. Most people are visual learners. Can I provide a better demonstration to my players? Can I become better at observing? Can I be better at analysing what I'm seeing in front of me? So the coaches are getting a great chance now at the moment to spend time away from the field, upskilling themselves by finding different methods, and maybe by experimenting a little bit through distance learning at the moment, sending little videos out to parents and encouraging parents to practice with their child. Again, go back to one of the points I made earlier. If parents can practice with children at home, children are going to improve far more so than just going to the field once a week. Every coach in Ireland knows that. So they have a number of players who might only go to the pitch once or twice a week. They don't improve. It's the players who practice at home who really improve. So I think if coaches can set what they're sending out to players, find out what they're looking for, and make it easy enough for the parent and the player to do, that would be huge work that the coach could do.
Thanks, Peter. And so, Sabrina, in terms of the interaction with the parents at the moment, how important do you think that is for coaches to interact with parents and players at the moment?
Yeah, look, it's like what Peter said there. Like you wouldn't be inundating them. Like, you know, I have nephews and nieces there, and you know they're getting information from every sport that they play in, and their kids and their sixes and their sevens, and they're into everything like any 6 or 7 year old is. So like Peter touched on earlier on, it's nice to be able to send out a message to show that you care, to show that you're still in touch. And, you know, that is very much appreciated by parents as well, I think, and by clubs, because, like, you know, GA, camogie, hurling, whatever it is, it's a community really. And like by reaching out and reaching out to your parents or your member or whatever, it's just a nice touch. But like, I wouldn't overdo it. Do you know what I mean? Like there is that danger of sending stuff 2 times a day, like, and the parent by the end of this, whenever this is over, will, you know, be wondering, they'll nearly think that you live with them at that stage because you'll be in touch with them so much, you know. So just keep it simple, but keep it nice and keep it community based, basically, is what I'd be saying. Just a small little message goes a long way.
And Peter, just the last question here. So if coaches spend some time working on themselves, working on their own coaching practice, and commit to coming back as a better coach and improving what they do, what knock-on effect do you think that will have on the players and the team in general when they come back?
I think if we look at our top coaches, right? So the first time I saw Paddy Butler, I said, I'm going to try and be like him. I'm going to try and coach like him because I really admire him. When I saw Paul Kinnerk, you know, when I saw Liam Morgan, when I saw Eamon Ryan, right? When I see Jurgen Klopp, I say I'd really like to be like him, and because and when we learn from other people, from watching other people or seeing other people, when we learn from them, don't lose yourself in this. Don't become them, because you can't become them. But all of a sudden, what I see is that the sessions become more enjoyable, first of all, for the players. Okay? The sessions become more enjoyable for you. Players start to make greater improvements. And I think the biggest thing, you start to retain players that you would otherwise have lost. I think one of the biggest questions that every coach can ask themselves right now is, am I an inclusive coach or am I an exclusive coach? If I pitch my drills or my videos or my challenges to the best players, I'm going to lose players at the bottom. Dropout is a huge problem in Gaelic games. It's a huge problem in Camogie. Loads of clubs spend loads of time getting players up to 12 years of age, only for them to be gone by 13. Okay, so I think that that if every coach can say, I'm going to really analyze what is causing, what is happening in my club, what is the tradition in my club. Are we good at retaining players, or do we lose players? If we lose players, what is causing us to lose players? And can I ask that question without blaming the players or without blaming the parents? And can I say, what can I do about it? And if you could answer that question, then this time will be so well spent.
It's a very good point. So just to sum up in terms of our second question there for coaches. So at the moment, keeping in touch with parents and players is vital. Don't worry about overdoing it, but a little message here and there can go quite far with parents who may be anxious, and players as well who may be a bit anxious at the moment. You're then looking at for your own coaching practice, self-reflect. How can you change things? How can you change what you've been doing? Is what you've been doing working, and are there different ways of doing it? And can you learn off other people? And can you look at workshops? Can you look at different coaching practices and adopt them for your own? And the last thing would be, never underestimate the effect of the coach on players. And if you can be as good a coach as you can be and keep improving the whole time, I'd be very surprised if you didn't start to keep more players and have better results from your players off the back of that. Thank you both for that. Last question. We've got a couple of minutes left till we're done. Just the last question. So we're going to go through looking at now when we go back. So when we resume play, we're looking at what should coaches focus on when play resumes. There's going to be a lot of challenges for everybody when we go back, in terms of we're not sure when we're going to go back. We're not sure how much time we're going to have when we do get back. We're not going to sure what facilities we're going to have. We're not sure what the fixtures are going to look like. We don't know how much time we've got between fixtures and our first fixtures and training. So as a coach, what would you both advise that they should focus on when they go back? Just as simply as you can. Peter, you go first.
Yeah, well, as you said, everything is uncertain. We really don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So the coaches need to be able to plan for a period of uncertainty where they are open to different ideas. So there's a good chance that when we go back, everything will be condensed into a small time frame, into a short time frame. We'll be competing with other sports. We'll also be trying to make up for lost ground. So the children will have choices to make, and there'll be a great danger here that the parents will say, well, Mary now will not be able to play camogie this year because she has too much going on with the dancing and school and 3 or 4 other things. Can we make life easier for Mary's mother, right? So I think that one of the nice things that happened to me was last week. I was in the shop and I met one of my young hurlers, and he said, I can't wait to go back. He said, I really miss hurling. He said, I don't care if we don't win another match for the rest of the year. I only want to play. And I think having that attitude, if we could all have that attitude, we just want to play. We really don't care whether we win or not, because it's not about that. So my own hope would be we go back, we get a real sense of of understanding of why we're doing this. Why do we coach kids? It can't be to win the All-Ireland or win the championship. Not if you're with the Go Games group. Not if you're with 6s, 8s, 10s or 12s. If that's your attitude, go with an older team. So go with a different attitude. Just I think if you could say, I can't wait to go back to our own field and train ourselves. I can't wait to go back to our own field and have our own little blitzes in our own fields just with ourselves. The matches will come afterwards, and all that will be outside of your own control again. So I think that you just need to go back and you say, okay, we've this time that the players weren't with us. They're probably not going to be as good as they would have been if we had been training all year long, right? But they will have grown physically and mentally and emotionally in all these ways, right? Some of them will have will have adopted maybe different behaviours because they'll be got that bit older as well. Maybe the quite shy 10-year-old from last year would be a more difficult 11-year-old to manage this year. I'm speaking from experience here, and so, but like it'll be to try and get everybody. If you could get everybody back that you would have had in March, whenever that is, right? To make life as easy as possible for parents by saying that I'd say maybe if we got together one evening a week might be as good as we'll do. You might have to say that, okay? Because we'll accommodate the other things that you have going on in your life. And then will be to really focus on just playing the game and having fun. You know, teach the couple of skills that you need to teach, but I think everybody will be longing to go back to playing games as much as possible. And as we said earlier on, if you with your reflection say, when I go back, I'm going to run far more inclusive activities than exclusive activities, everybody will benefit from this.
Yeah, and I just add to that there, like, I just, when you ask that question, I'm kind of thinking, right, okay, put myself into the shoes of a 7-year-old girl or an 8-year-old girl, whatever age, and if I wasn't able to go training, what would I feel like when I get back, whenever that is? And all I'd want to do is run out onto the pitch and have a game with my friends, and that's what any girl playing Go Games is going to want to do most. Like, no matter what the coach says, all they're going to do is put their hand up and say, coach, can we play a game? Can we play a game? So I'd be ready for that as a coach, to try, and they're all going to want to play games. So I'd be ready to try and include the skills that you want to do and improve on as a coach, but include them into a game. I know when we're talking about adult coaching, we're talking about making them as game based as we can now. And like for them underages, when they get back into that field, putting your skill coaching, you're just going to have to be a little bit creative in your coaching to put the skills into the actual games that you're going to be playing with those 8, 9, 10-year-olds, you know. So but look, we're all looking forward to it, whether you're 6 or whether you're 36 near where I'm approaching. But like, you're just looking forward to getting back to the pitch. So as a coach, I just be ready for that and make life as easy as possible for the players, the parents, and other coaches as well that you might have. They're going to want to have people as well. They're going to want to have some same players that you might have and things like that. So look, we're all looking forward to it. We don't know when it's going to be. We can't plan for a date that we don't know, but just bringing back that sense of fun the minute you get back to the field is the most important thing.
Superb. So again, if I could just sum that up from our discussions, coaches, when we do eventually get back to competitive action, you're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to adapt your plans, and everyone will be in the same boat. So don't worry about it. In terms of what you're focused on with your players, you just want them to have fun. You just want them to play and have fun, because they will be dying to get back on the pitch. So you want them to be playing as much as possible, as much games-based play as you can possibly fit in, because you're not sure how much time you'll have for other stuff. So focus on the games, and everything else will take care of itself. And if you let them play and develop and leave the pressure behind, you can use this as a prime development time to try and develop without the pressure of winning, because all they'll want to do is play. They won't be worried about anything else. So, and if you do that, hopefully you'll have some better results. Before we go, is there anything else the two of you would like to add in summary?
Well, I'd just like to wish everybody the best. I think that you know, when we talk about camogie, it's a pastime, and it's a fantastic pastime to get out and to play. There's an awful lot going on at the moment, so I wish everybody the best, and I just hope that everybody sticks to the process of this COVID-19 advice that we're getting. That we all stay at home, and that we all mind ourselves and wash our hands and social distance, and that we'll be back. That it'll be all worth it, and we'll be all back. And 2020 could be a great year yet.
And we'll just apologise to all the parents in advance for the kids wanting 15 Easter eggs every time they do a skills challenge. Apologies for that. So on behalf of the Camogie Association, I'd like to thank Sabrina and Peter for their time today. We hope you enjoyed the webinar. Any questions you can contact us directly. We will put some information up on all the resources Sabrina and Peter chatted about. And tune in next time, we'll be looking at the youth age group. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.